Welcome once again to another edition of Shelf Life Book Reviews Online. As always, I thank you for taking the time to watch my videos, which hopefully you do find informative, and when you go to your local bookstore, you seek out the books that I am reviewing for you. Today's book is most interesting. It's fascinating to the core. It is called Tales of an Unsung Sourdough, The Extraordinary Klondike Adventures of Johnny Lind. This is written by Phil Lind, Johnny's grandfather, and Robert Brehl, and it's published by Page 2 Books, and it retails for $39.95. It's not a big book, it's around 150 pages, but what is in this book is certainly a fount of information about the gold rush days in the Klondike. Now, there have been many books written about the Klondike. Pierre Burton wrote one several decades ago, but this one has a family touch to it. And John Lind, who grew up in Pond Mills, Ontario, which was now part of London, Ontario, he was a man who, well, he had a vision, and he wanted to be part of the gold rush frenzy. But actually, he almost didn't make it there. He was going to flip a coin, and he said, heads, I go to the Klondike, to the gold rush. Tails, I go to Venezuela. Well, as they say, the rest is history, because heads won, and he headed to the Klondike. Now, I should also mention this title here, Tales of an Unsung Sourdough. Now, it's not just about sourdough bread. They do mention sourdough bread in the book, but sourdough is actually a name that was coined in 1849 in California by four miners who were out in the cold northern weather for a full year. If they lasted a full year, they got the term sourdough. And that had a lot to do with sourdough bread, which many of them carried sourdough starter kits and leavening to make sourdough. Now, they kept it pretty close to their chest because the weather got bitter cold at some times, so they didn't want the bread to freeze. So that's the story of how sourdough came. So anyways, John Lind, he set out and I've got my notes here, April 26, 1894. He took the North Pacific train to the West Coast, heading there. And there he boarded the SS City of Topeka, a 1,057-ton passenger ship to head, to the Klondike. And he arrived there. There were close to 100,000 people had headed for the gold rush. Everybody thought they could get rich there, by mining, panning for gold. And so when he got out, he didn't really adjust to the elements. He immediately had snow blindness, and it lasted for 2 days that he really could not see hardly anything. So people had to lead him by the arm for 2 days till his vision slowly returned. Now, the book is filled with anecdotes from John Lind. He left a lot of notes behind, and his grandfather went through all the notes. And it's amazing the information that Lind left in his journals. He talks about an interesting situation where a Frenchman and an Englishman were fighting over an indigenous woman. So they decided the next morning they would have a duel at dawn with Winchester rifles. And, and the winner would get the indigenous woman. So, but there was a council that wanted to monitor to make sure that the fight was fair. So the president of the council had a 50-foot rope over his shoulder. And the Englishman said, "What is that rope for?" So the president of the council said, "The winner of the duel gets hung by the neck." Well, they called off their duel. So that's an interesting thing. So anyways, in the book we learn about a lot of situations, a lot of confrontations, people whose dreams were shattered when they didn't find the gold. But Lind has a interesting achievement, and he has the distinction of being the first miner to sink a shaft all the way down the bedrock to Chicken Creek. He dug so deeply, removing so much pay dirt, that he struck igneous, metamorphic, sedimentary, and volcanic rock below the permafrost. And he called it Chicken Creek. He named it because he thought the little pebbles and things looked like chicken feed. So the book is just packed with one anecdote after another, including not only John Lind, but all the other people who were part of the gold rush days. Now, a lot of people made a lot of money. In today's monetary system, what a lot of people found, maybe thousands of dollars worth of gold, would almost be worth millions today if it was gauged by today's prices. So as well, the book is just packed, and I can't show you them all, of course, but they have vintage pictures of the people in going over rivers, and it's just absolutely fascinating what they found out from these notes of John Lind. So if you're looking for a great historical book about the Klondike days, the gold rush days, it actually lasted between 1896 and 1899, and then the gold rush fever just faded away because they thought all the gold had been found. So Tales of an Unsung Sourdough is certainly a book that you should add to your collection. Like I said, it is just filled with one fascinating aspect of the gold rush after another. And when John Lind came back to this region, he settled in St. Mary's, and he actually started the St. Mary's Cement Company. And there's also a park named after him in St. Mary's. So go look for this book. You will not regret buying it. It is certainly worth the $39.95 purchase price. So that's the book I wanted to draw to your attention today. Let me know if you agree with my review, please. So until we meet again, stay safe, stay sane, stay in touch, and I will see you at the bookstore. Thanks again, and bye for now.